All right, what's up guys? In this video, I want to talk about the splitter. So the splitter is a pitch that is now taking over baseball, becoming super common. Nearly every pitcher is throwing it. So we're going to talk about how to throw it in this video, different variations of it. But I want to kind of touch on, how it became so popular. So it used to be a pitch that was thrown quite a bit. And then there was like some kind of rumor or something happened where people thought it was bad for you. I think there was a few pitchers that, had some elbow problems, not even necessarily related to the splitter, but maybe they, linked it to the splitter somehow, but probably not even true. And so it just fell out of vogue. And then kind of when United States faced Japan in the World Baseball Classic and got dominated by the splitter, people are like, wow, okay, the splitter's that effective. And it really is. So when I was playing, I ended up throwing it a little bit, in college, and later in my career, didn't really throw it growing up. But the reason it's so good is because it's actually a pretty easy pitch to learn. And then once you learn it and start throwing it in games, you can start to perfect it. But it's an easy pitch to just learn and start throwing right away. So, for me, for most guys, it's kind of like your two seam right here. And then you're basically just going right there with it. And you're going to take off a lot of speed and a lot of spin with it. Now, when I was throwing it, we didn't have all the data that we do now. We didn't have the high-speed cameras where you can see the spin as easily. So I always wondered, okay, what's a splitter supposed to do? What kind of spin is it supposed to have? I would try to get, tumble on it. I would try to do different things. But now we know a lot more about the splitter, what makes it effective. And from what I see, there is no right or wrong spin on the splitter. There's really infinite types of splitters that can be effective. So ultimately, who's going to tell you if your splitter is effective is the batter. But let's kind of go over different ideas with it. So you have on the one end of the splitter, you have Roki Sasaki, which is really more of a forkball, which just means it's cutting it much deeper like that, which has very low spin rate going forward. He'll actually get it like 400 RPM, and sometimes it'll even like knuckle, guys have talked about. So it's kind of like a bad knuckleball going forward, which is, again, what I say, a bad knuckleball can actually be a nasty pitch, but that's where Roki Sasaki is, and his is absolutely filthy, disgusting pitch, but that's actually pretty rare to get it to tumble forward. What you typically see with a splitter, let's go the opposite end of that spectrum, is Yamamoto, who's maybe even more effective because he has such good command with it. He's throwing his, which has basically two seam spin, but he gets seam shifted wake movement on his splitter. So it's a little bit slower than his fastball, about 5 miles an hour slower, but it's getting that seam shifted movement. So it'll go down like that. So its spin is a little bit different, but not too much, but it's just slower and it's got that good movement. And it's, and then because he's able to throw it with such good accuracy, such good command, that helps a lot too. And then the other really good thing about a splitter is it's very easy to have great arm speed, arm action, because you're not changing anything here. You're just chucking it, staying through it like your fastball. And so if it's only 5 miles an hour slower and it moves a little bit, it can be extremely effective. And then you'll see other guys with their splitters where, like, for example, Kodai Senga, Ghost Fork guy, he's throwing kind of like right here where he's getting a finger on a seam like that, and he's able to get a lot of gyro spin on it. So that makes it really dive down hard. So there's tumbling, there's more two seam spin, there's gyroing type spin. There can be guys throwing it with some side spin. There's all different types of spin you can get on a splitter or a forkball, and they can all work. But like we said, the batter will tell you if it's truly working. And, sometimes you'll throw it, doesn't seem great, but then the batter reacts as if it's nasty. And so basically what you want to do if you're considering learning it is just start with, spreading the fingers where you can throw it pretty accurately, and then throw it in live at bats and just see what the batter does. And then once you start doing that, usually if you just go here, it's going to be pretty decent because it's going to take some speed off. You'll have great arm action. And then from there, you can try, okay, maybe if I get my thumb up here, it gets a little bit different spin. Maybe I move my finger here. Maybe it's a little bit deeper. Maybe it's not as deep. Or maybe I get it deeper in the palm. So many different things you can try. But I would say the key is just get a basic grip, throw it to batters, see how they react, and then modify from there. And you're going to have to balance your command with it versus, the movement and taking the speed off, and you're really going to find the sweet spot. So the takeaway is there's no right or wrong type of spin, and splitters are going to have so many different variations, from a harder splitter, a slower splitter, one that drops a ton, one that relies on, great arm action, just being a little bit slower. So definitely just try it out and play catch with it, and then just throw it in a game, or especially just to live at bats where there's not a lot of pressure right away, and then you can start modifying it. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. If it was, subscribe. We've got a lot more videos like this coming up where we're going to talk about different pitches and how to get batters out. We'll see you in the next one.